just in our politicians, but in our entire democratic system will be irreparable.
What do you mean
if people
will
are made
be?
to
It
vote
already
again.
is. It's completely gone already. I mean, we're in the politics has completely lost all credibility.
Certainly, politicians aren't popular.
But one of the reasons, Nigel, that they're not popular is that you come out with all of these abstract concepts like sovereignty and freedom of the people and will of the people.
How is freedom? How is freedom?
You haven't got a plan.
But if you think freedom's abstract, we've got to the heart now.
What is it? What is it?
All the listeners need to understand.
I'll tell you what's not abstract.
You control your own borders, you make your own laws, you run your own country, and you are the masters of your own destiny.
We were not
governed by a bunch of old men in Brussels.
We were masters of our destiny when we chose to enter the European Union because we thought it was better for our economy. And it was better for our economy.
Hang on, my parents voted for free trade, not for political domination.
We were the fastest growing economy in the G7 before this. Now we're the slowest. The European Union has been...
The European Union... Stop lying with the figures.
I'm not lying.
Italy are slower.
We are the slowest growing economy.
I can imagine people at home being
because no one cares about the economics.
I agree with that.
Nobody believes the economics. This is simple.
Nigel,
it's not about me saying we'd be better off or you saying we'd be worse off. It's about do we govern our own country or don't we?
No, it's not about that. It's not about that.
Now, first and foremost, I'd like to apologise for presenting you with that rather annoying clip. Today's topic is actually fluidic speech. Now, fluidic speech really depends on the situation. There are times when we can speak quite fluidly and there's times when we don't. The times when we are more likely to speak with fluidity perhaps is around friends, or family, talking about things that we like, that we're interested in. Perhaps also if you're really upset about something, if you're angry, you'll probably start speaking a lot faster and all the words and sentences will just be coming out automatically. So passion as well. Also, I suppose this is quite a funny one, but if you've had a drink, maybe after a couple of beers, a couple of glasses of wine, under the influence of something, you would also perhaps be speaking with some fluidity. I suppose if then you had a couple of bottles of wine, you'd probably not be speaking very fluidly. So there's quite a lot of factors. The other factor, I suppose, is that you really know what you're talking about. In some cases, when you see a politician on the television and they're making a really good go of answering questions or taking part in a one-to-one debate of some kind, then there are times, of course, when that politician actually really knows their subject. They've really done their research. I suppose one example actually to think of perhaps is Rory Stewart. Now, I don't know that much about Rory Stewart. He was one of the candidates in the Conservative Party leadership contest he got sort of about halfway through, dropped out with about 4 people left. But actually with Rory Stewart, I really liked the way he answered questions. He wasn't just saying the same things over and over again. When he was confronted with a question maybe that he wasn't quite expecting, he was able to give a pretty good answer, and he wasn't taking long pauses like perhaps I would have done, or stuttering or saying hums and ahs. Now, Rory Stewart is, like a lot of these politicians, very well educated, but I think you get a feeling with Rory Stewart that there's something a little bit more going on than just a good education. I think he really does care. He really does know a lot of things. He really does his homework. So of course that's a major factor on why somebody would be able to speak with such fluidity. And of course passion is, just to repeat that one, is very important as well. I think I said the word fake earlier. So this would be what we actually mentioned in the previous video on ethos and pathos. This would be artificial proof. So you could, I suppose, talk with a lot of passion, and maybe you're actually acting a little bit. All good rhetoricians perhaps need a few acting skills. But getting back to the clip, in order to survive these kinds of programs, if you're going on as a politician, this one was Good Morning Britain, but there are other programs, Newsnight, maybe Question Time. They're all pretty similar in the sense that they might have 3 or 4 people. In Question Time, there's a few more, but 3 or 4 people, and you're talking, and then someone will butt in and talk over you or try to stop you from getting to the end of your sentence. And if you have any pauses, or you just want to stop and think for a moment, or try to find just the right word, no, it won't work. Somebody will just talk straight over you. And in fact, even in this clip that I showed, the 2 people aren't giving the other one a chance to get in, but they, just like in my first video, they're basically just talking at exactly the same time over the top of each other, and it's horrible to listen to. I don't know how people can sit there and watch these programs all the way through from start to finish. I get totally depressed after just a couple of minutes of listening to it. Anyway, so it's not just this ITV program. There are BBC programs, for example, that are just as bad, actually. So it's actually a bit like a sword fight in a way. I mean, you know, if you let your guard down for a second, somebody will just lunge at you. But these 2 just keep sort of, well, like 2 boxers in a ring, they just keep throwing punches at each other. So the normal rules of conversation just don't seem to exist on these kinds of programs. And actually, sort of dipping into linguistic studies for a moment, there was a British philosopher of language, Paul Grice, who came up with these 4 maxims of conversation. It's called the cooperative principle. It's sociolinguistics. But I might go into it a bit more on a future video. But they're definitely not observing all the rules of conversation. So I'm going to jump to my second clip for this video, which is not political, it's more philosophical, and then I'll come straight back.
What place has knowledge in the regeneration of man? That is the basic question.
That's our point of departure.
Departure.
Good. And the knowledge that we have pointed to so far that has emerged in our discussion is a knowledge which in itself has no power to effect this transformation.
No, sir, but knowledge has a place.
Well, yes, I didn't mean that. I mean what is expected of this knowledge that we pointed to that is accumulated in libraries is an expectation which it in itself cannot fulfill.
No. I must go back to the word again, the word knowledge. What does it mean to know?
Well, I have understood the word in the strict sense this way. Knowledge is the apprehension of what is. But what passes for knowledge might not be that.
No, what is generally accepted as knowledge is experience.
Yes, what is generally accepted.
We'll begin with that, because
right.
that's what...
Let's begin with what is generally accepted.
So you might think that's a very strange comparison video to do. And yes, I suppose it is. That was a philosophical conversation from the mid-70s, Jiddu Krishnamurti speaking with Dr. Alan Anderson. I really wanted to put a clip from this conversation in because it shows that you can actually have such a talk where people take a moment to think of the word that they want to use, or really think about what words that they're using. Now, these two had a series of conversations lasting an hour, unbroken conversation for an hour, no advert breaks, just constantly for an hour. And I think they did at least a dozen of these conversations that literally just picked up from where they left off from the previous conversation. Maybe it was 18 conversations, it was a lot. So hours and hours and hours of just one basically continuous conversation. And I think back, that's really 1970s. It's not that long ago. Maybe people who were just going to university for the first time might think, oh, that's a long time ago. But it's not really. And I think it just shows how much things have changed. Can you really imagine such a program being on the television nowadays? I can't. Everything's got to be really fast paced. You've got to get the information out straight away. And I think this is also in this video, we're comparing just how things have changed. I think it's a bit of a shame that you can't anymore on TV programs just have a really nice slow conversation. Now, if there are some examples that prove me wrong, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to be corrected there. So really, just to jump now to the main point and summary of this video. The Krishnamurti conversation, it's philosophical. They're really thinking about something very serious and taking it seriously and thinking about every word that they use. And quite often they will stop for maybe 10 minutes just to analyze the etymology of one particular word before they can actually move on with the conversation. We can't go any further until we've actually really got down to the proper definition of what this word really means. And in the political clip, these political conversations, of course, they're pretty devoid of thinking, pretty devoid of logic during some of this Brexit debate. And I think it's just a shame that politics, there's no room anymore for philosophical thinking, for actual logical thinking, which is a part of rhetoric that we can have to come on to another day. Logical proof, we're still actually looking at proof at the moment. We've been doing artificial proof in the last couple of videos. So that's mostly what I wanted to share with you today, and just to highlight that what these well-polished politicians on the TV are saying may be well-delivered fluidic speech, but in most cases it's mostly just pre-scripted repetitive rubbish. Well, this has been Sem Priest Rhetoric, and thanks for watching.